as you're going through your life and you're trying to, accomplish certain things, it's very important to have goals mentally. You want to work on your mental development, right? How can you become stronger mentally? What goals do you have? How are you going to be able to tackle problems, obstacles? How are you going to, feed your brain and gain knowledge and really become mentally stronger, mentally tougher, mentally better? What are you going to do with that money, man? How are you going to make the capital work? That's what it's really all about. Welcome to Capital Games, a podcast where we'll talk about financial fitness and investing. My name is Sam Rekasima.
You don't need to be 18 to buy your first home.
No, I'm your host. On this podcast, we'll cover a variety of different investing. Over the years, how many businesses have you been involved with, either creating, funding, or just really getting involved?
People have the resources. They're just not resourceful.
Well, because I think when you're talking about even a millionaire, you're really talking about his mindset, right? And
How about if I'm lying? How about if I don't even have a dollar for my name?
you have an idea?
Woo!
And then the lender's going to typically give you guidelines. They're like, we're only going to give you this money if this property makes X amount of dollars. So when you're running your numbers and the bottom line is negative, the lender is not going to give you a loan because Welcome to Capital Games. I'm your host, Sam Rekasima. This is episode 11, and we're talking about the importance of goal setting. All right, so let's get right into it. So as you're going through your life and you're trying to, accomplish certain things, it's very important to have goals. And the reason why you want to have goals is because that's basically your direction that you're heading, right? Because if you don't have your goal set, then you can kind of just wander in circles and you're not actually going to make any progress. So it's very important to, have goals and really define them specifically. So there's difference between also dreams and goals, right? If you have a dream, there's no action plan behind it. It's just, oh, I would like to do this, or I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that. The difference is when you have a goal, you're going to also follow it up with an action plan, right? You're going to sit down, and the most important thing about a goal, I believe, is making sure that you write it down. Now, when you write it down, you actually crystallizing it, and then now you can hold yourself accountable to it. For me personally, at the beginning of every year, I like to write down all the goals that I have, and then also then create an action plan behind it. So let's say, I wanted to, get 50 properties. That was one of the goals I had last year. Now, how do I break that down? Am I going to buy one property with 50, 50 doors, or am I going to buy 50 properties singularly, or different ways of how you can actually go about it? But then you want to have an action plan. Am I buying one a week, one a month, or how often am I actually going to be doing it? And then what activities do I need to do to generate that type of result that I'm looking for? Really want to try to reverse engineer your goals, and that way it's actually attainable. And then if you break it down, it gets easier and easier to attain. A lot of times when people are, thinking about their goals, I think, and even for me, I don't make them lofty enough. You want to have really, really lofty goals and difficult goals, so that way you can actually stretch and try to achieve something that you normally don't think you could achieve. Because typically, whatever bar that you set, that's what you'll meet. So you really want to make sure that your goals are lofty and makes you become a different person to actually be able to attain those goals. And I think that when you're really, formulating and thinking about what your goals are going to be, you want to be very, very intentional. And when we talk about goals, there's a few different areas or aspects that you can set goals. I'm going to break it down to the 5 pillars. The first pillar, well, I'll just give you a quick, rundown of the 5 pillars. There's the spiritual pillar, there's the mental pillar, there's the physical pillar, there's the emotional pillar, and then there's the financial pillar. So you can actually set goals in each of these 5 pillars that you can set for yourself and really try to figure out how you want to, improve or attain that goal. So you definitely want to have a spiritual goal, right? Whether that's meditating, prayer, reading the Bible, you want to have something that, you can strive to and really achieve to try to get to every day. And then also next, mentally, you want to work on your mental development, right? How can you become stronger mentally? What goals do you have? How are you going to be able to tackle problems, obstacles? How are you going to, feed your brain and gain knowledge and really become mentally stronger, mentally tougher, mentally better. Welcome to Capital Games. I'm your host, Sam Rekasima. In this podcast, we will cover financial education, financial entertainment. We'll cover a variety of topics. This will be a community where people can give feedback, learn information, and if this is the type of content you like, subscribe, share, and tune in, and we'll catch you next time. Next, physical goals, right? Do you want to lose weight? Are you trying to gain weight? Do you want a certain body mass index? Do you want to be able to run a certain number of miles? All these different things when it comes to physical goals and things that you want to do for your physical body. Next, you have your emotional, right? How do you handle situations that come up? How do you handle adversity, right? Are you going to complain? Are you going to, uh, you know, get upset? Are you going to allow others to dictate how you feel? Are you going to get in your feelings, right? What type of goals are you trying to set so that way, when things come up emotionally, you're stronger? And obviously, your financial goals. This podcast is, financial education. So, we talk a lot about different finances, but what are some of your financial goals? What are you trying to achieve? How do you plan on getting there? All those different things. These are all different types of goals. And I feel like if you have goals for each one of those pillars, you're going to have a very well-rounded goal, and you're going to have to become a well-rounded person to really, achieve all those goals. And then the next thing is, after you write down your goal, like I said, you can hold yourself accountable. So now in, a few months or a few weeks or a few years, you can come back to it and say, hey, I wrote that this was my goal and I wanted to do it, and I've done this or I haven't done this. And you can really hold yourself accountable and say, these are some things that I wanted and I either did them or I didn't do them. So a great way when you're setting goals is to do what they call SMART goals, right? Um, specific, right? Measurable, right? A for actionable, R for smart, almost like realistic, and then T, time based. So you want all these different aspects in your goals, so that way when you set them, you know it's going to be very simple for you to actually achieve them. And it's not just, oh, I just wish I would have done this, and then now you're not really setting real goals that with real actionable items that you can do to actually achieve them. So goals is extremely important. And as we're winding down to the end of the year, it's 2024. A lot of people have New Year's resolutions, and they have different things that they want to do. Take the time now to really start thinking about what your goals are and then how you're going to achieve them. You don't have to wait till the beginning of next year or for a New Year's resolution. You can literally start today. You can think of any areas in your life that you want to work on, or any goals that you have, anything that you want to accomplish. Start writing down your goals today, and then think about your action plan on how you're going to achieve those goals. Right? Do you need to develop different skills to get those goals? Are you in the right network? Are you talking to the right people? Are you really holding yourself accountable to your goals and making sure that you're really, defining and executing on the promises that you make yourself? So the next thing I really want to talk about is, short-term and long-term goals, right? So some goals, you might have a goal for, let's say buying a house, for example. I do real estate, and a lot of people want to own a property. That's one goal, right? But in order to get that goal, there's going to be steps and things that you have to do to achieve that goal, right? You're going to need to get a certain credit score. You're going to need to have a certain amount of money for your down payment. You're going to need to have, the right connections and things like that. So you can set smaller goals to help you get to your long-term goals, right? If you want to retire at a certain age, right? Now you're like, all right, well, if I want to retire in 10 years, that's your goal. So now what are the milestones that you're going to need to get to retire at that age, right? What are the things that you're going to have to do to, have X amount of dollars every year, every month? How much do you need to save? How much do you need to invest? Do you need to start a new business? All these different things are going to really decide on how you're going to be able to, meet your long-term goals, but you're going to start with the short-term goals. And then also what you really want to do is make sure that, you're not afraid of failure, right? Some people have goals and they're lofty, and, they may not make them. They may not meet their goals because they're just. Welcome to Capital Games. I am your host, Sam Arekasima. In this podcast, we will cover financial education, financial entertainment. We'll cover a variety of topics. This will be a community where people can give feedback, learn information, and if this is the type of content you like, subscribe, share, and tune in, and we'll catch you next time. Just really large goals, but as long as you're striving towards it and you're getting a little bit closer, eventually you will be able to meet those goals. So, again, don't be afraid to set very difficult goals because it's going to allow you to, it's going to force you to stretch and learn new skills and become the person who could actually achieve those goals. Whether it's, you want to be a millionaire, billionaire, whatever it may be, you're going to really have to learn different skills and develop yourself to get yourself to a point where you can actually meet some of these goals. So I know a lot of times when somebody has a goal and you know they they're they're s- they're not meeting it or they're struggling, they might want to give up. So it's really important to allow yourself to continue to keep striving and to keep going no matter what. The goal is the end game, but the journey is part of the beauty of it as well, right? You're gonna have to go through different things to meet your goals. So don't get discouraged if you don't, get your goal on your time frame. Let's say you said you wanted to do it in a month or a 1 year and it's taking you a little bit longer. As long as you're still developing and you're still working towards it, that's actually really commendable, and you will eventually meet that goal. And sometimes you hit a certain breakthrough, right? You're trying, you're getting there slowly, but all of a sudden you can take an exponential leap and you can go through go get to a very fast, very quickly get to a place where you're a lot closer, even though it seemed like you were very far away because of your consistency. A lot of things in life is just really about consistency and making sure that you keep doing it and not giving up, because it's very easy to get discouraged and stop when you're not seeing the result right away. But going through the process will make you better and get you closer to your goal. So, and then what you can also do is, you know, as you look at your goals, they change over time as well, right? What you may have wanted at one point, it may change. And if you have it written down, you could always adjust, right? So you want to adjust your goals as you're going through them and say, you know, this was my goal before, and then this is my goal now. Like, for me, I had a goal that was like, oh, I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted to have $1 million. And then I thought about it, I was like, well, is that really the goal? And do I really have to stretch, or is that just a goal that I have because I think I can do it? And I really wanted to, you know, see my full potential. So I changed it. I was like, well, how about 100 million, right? And then I was looking at 100 million. I was like, well, what about a billion? And you really just want to look at your goals and assess them, and then adjust them accordingly as you go through life and as different things happen. And you can always adjust them and really make sure that they're in line with where you are at the moment. And then when you write them down, you can really go back and be like, oh, this was the mind state that I was at that time, and that's why I set that goal. But as you develop and as you grow and as you go through life, things change, and you can really kind of develop and change your goals as well. So don't be afraid to change your goals. Don't be afraid to just change it up. And then also, with that being said, is as you meet some of your goals, go ahead and reward yourself, right? You want to kind of create a reward system so that way, as you meet your goals, you're incentivizing yourself to keep meeting them, right? If you said you wanted to do XYZ and you did it, reward yourself, whether it's, getting yourself a new pair of shoes, or, going to a basketball game, whatever it is that you like and that you enjoy, you make sure you want to reward yourself for meeting your goal, because now subconsciously you're going to be incentivizing yourself to continue to improve and continue to meet your goals. Now, one thing I would say is, when you are writing your goals, for me, what I use is a spreadsheet, and I just kind of write down, what I think is, a good goal at the time, and how I'm going to do it. Make sure that you also are including who you think you need to help or who can help you as you're trying to accomplish your goals. Welcome to Capital Games. I'm your host, Sam Arekasima. In this podcast, we will cover financial education, financial entertainment. We'll cover a variety of topics. This will be a community where people can give feedback, learn information, and if this is the type of content you like, subscribe, share, and tune in, and we'll catch you next time. You really want to make sure that everything that you do is in line with all your goals, and making sure that the people that you meet, the people that you are helping, the people that you are really trying to develop all matches and is in line with your goals, right? When everyone, or let's say you join an organization, you want to make sure that the goals of the organization are also in line with your goals, so that way there's no confusion, and you're not wasting your time or wasting their time. So when you're really writing down your goals and you're really thinking about why you want to do a certain thing, just make sure that it's really in line with what your goal is, and make sure anything that you're doing or any people that you're interacting with, they're also in line with those goals as well. um, I know for me personally, like, I have, different financial goals and, physical goals and things that I'm working on. And I just really wanted to make sure that in the long run, and when I look back, I can say that I tried and I gave it everything I had. And as long as you can really do that, you should really never, feel bad about coming short. Because if you really tried and you didn't cheat yourself and you didn't take any shortcuts, then and you come a little bit short, that's fine. So don't be afraid to, write down your goals and hold yourself accountable, because you're afraid that you might not, meet those goals. That's part of the battle, and that's, really the journey that you have to go along when you're doing it. So what I'll also say now is, when you are writing goals and you're setting goals, make sure that you try to find some input from people, maybe in your circle, right? So if you know that, let's say you wanted to, get a new car, and you're like, oh, I want to get a Mercedes, and you're talking to your friends, and some of your friends are like, oh, that car is not going to be good for you because of X, Y, and Z. You may want to take some of that input in it, especially if it's from people that you trust, people that know you, and people who you believe have your best interests. A lot of the times they see things from a different perspective, and you might want to bounce some of those ideas off of them, some of these goals off of them, so that way when you're writing it down, that you're taking in all aspects of it. But at the same time, I will also say, some of your dreams and some of your goals, others aren't going to understand. So if you feel like you're sharing these goals with somebody, like, oh, you'll never be able to do that, that's fine as well. You're allowed to let people have their input, but don't let it define something that you really, really want. So just make sure that you're really trying to become, the best version of yourself. And that's why it is important to set goals, because you will be able to become that person who eventually, meets those goals. And for this episode, I'm not going to really keep it on too much longer, but I really did want to just kind of tell people, if you do have, goals and dreams and aspirations, don't be afraid to just, try it, and, try it tomorrow. You don't have to wait for anything. And your goals and your dreams are a lot closer than you think. We just did this last episode about mentors and how they can really change your life. Some of your goals are going to involve a mentor. You're going to need somebody who you can really lean on and help you get to some of those goals. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself. Or by working with a mentor, you'll be able to get to your goals much faster. So don't be afraid to reach out, network, talk to people, tell people, what some of your goals are, and see how they can help you along the way. It's really powerful how the humans and how everyone connects together, and how the energy of, even like a mastermind can really help somebody think a little bit differently and get to a place where now, they've kind of elevated, and they can get to their goals and their dreams much faster. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. If you guys like this type of content, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.